adjusted my sound there, so hopefully that's loud enough. Well, welcome everyone this afternoon. This session is Indigenous Resources for Early Childhood Education and Kindergarten Level. It is brought to you by the Alberta Regional Professional Development Consortium, ARPDC. I belong to the Edmonton Regional Learning Consortium, which is the ERLC. There's 7 groups altogether that belong to the consortium itself, and we're all funded through Learn Alberta. As people come in, if you forget, I'm going to just mute you just because I know it can be irritating to people who are trying to listen if they hear that in the background. I like to do land acknowledgement when I first start. So Tansei. I live on Treaty 7 land here in Calgary, the ancestral home of the Blackfoot people. There's also there's a Dene Reserve for Tsuut'ina, Métis Nation Region 5 here as well, which I belong to. All contributed to the shaping of Alberta and Canada, and I thank the Blackfoot people for allowing me to live on their land. If you know which treaty land you live close to, or if you don't, people that have lived in that land before they were displaced, you're welcome to add that into the chat. For those who've been to many of my sessions, bear with me. I have to go through this information for those who don't know me, just so you understand why I do this work particularly. Through ARPDC, we are called Designers of Professional Learning, so DPL. So I'm just gonna take a look in the chat. I know people are posting their, I think the reserve here is at Treaty 8 and Treaty 6. Nice, thank you, welcome here. Designer professional learning really encompasses everything we do. I mean, a good side effect of COVID was a lot of information did go online that had not previously been there, including a lot of teacher professional development, which is really great. It makes it more accessible. So the majority of our work is in fact online, but I, as well as other consultants with ARPDC, we go to schools and school divisions and do presentations in different various organizations through this work. And we also work in curriculum areas sometimes too, particularly the focus currently obviously is in the new curriculum development areas. Oh, and Susan's here in Treaty 7 as well as here. Treaty 7 with me. I am Red River Métis, which is what Louis Riel called us, from what is historically known as the Red River Settlement. So my family is from Selkirk, Manitoba, which is north of Winnipeg, and I went to school in Winnipeg. For those who are Métis or Indigenous as well, you know, there's 2 questions we ask when we meet each other. The first is always, what's your name? And the second is, where are you from? So who are your people and where's your land? So my mom is a Mowat, and there was McDonald's, Mackays, and Beaudries in my family as well. The Beaudries were actually a voyageur family, Métis voyageur family in Alberta. And Mackays are also been throughout Alberta. My family did live in Alberta, in fact, and that's a picture of my great-grandpa, James Mowat, there sitting on the bench there by the rocks. He was around the Fort Saskatchewan and Fort Edmonton area, along with my great-great-grandfather, Adam. And sorry, Andrew. Adam was one of his sons. I always get there are a lot of A names in Scotland. Anyways, they were in Fort Saskatchewan, and there's a school named after him, James Mowat Elementary, as well as Mowat Park. And in Edmonton, there's James Mowat Trail, which is spelled with 2 T's. Oh, Jennifer, awesome. You grew up in Riverton. Yeah, I know Riverton very well. Yeah, north of Selkirk. Yeah, I actually got frostbite at Camp Arness as a child. In grade 6 when we went winter camping, but I had a lot of fun there. I love that area. It's really beautiful. And right beside that picture, so I'm checking in the chat as I'm doing this. Sorry guys. And that was in the chat. And beside that picture are his surviving children. So that's my grandpa's the middle boy Rosser, and then my great uncles Stanley and Oliver, my great aunt Tassie. And I know as people look at those pictures, especially, and they see me, I resemble my great-grandfather a lot more than anybody else in my family. As I saw his picture, I was excited because I was like, I know who I look like now. But my grandpa married a woman who was Swedish and English, so we were very fair compared to a lot of our cousins and that growing up. But I did start in Winnipeg as a teacher, working primarily in the core area, the same school division I graduated from, Seven Oaks School Division. I ended up teaching for, and I ended up working a lot with Indigenous students at that time, especially in the late 80s when I started teaching. Economic conditions were very rough like they are now for a lot of people, and a lot of people had come off the reserves to find work. And so there were a lot of kids, especially the girls, that were extremely shy, that they would get me to work with and talk to. And because we shared, similar backgrounds and a lot of different things and understanding trauma and that kind of thing. And so that was kind of my first delving into working with Indigenous students. The last couple of years, I took a contract to work with an online school, Ignite eLearning, with Kataskina Tribal Council in Northern Alberta. They're a group of 5 nations that got together and formed an education council that was then approved by Alberta Education to create their own curriculum based on the seasons. So we went from fall, winter, spring, land-based learning, and Cree language, and then, of course, the elder teachings, all based around the Alberta Program of Studies. So I took the Alberta Program of Studies for the grades 7 to 9 outreach program and indigenized it for their particular cultures and decolonized it and added that land-based learning and the Cree, which I'm now actually learning. And then the elders took it and they were very happy with the work that I did. And so I was really encouraged to continue on with this work. And I learned so much from working with them. Particularly, I always put out a plug for Jason Big Charles because he really helped inform me a lot about land-based learning for this particular area. And being Métis from Manitoba particularly, and he's Métis, but he grew up on a settlement, so he lives more of a traditional Cree life, really, broadened my mind to a lot of the things that I could add to the curriculum that were really exciting. So yeah, and I was really encouraged to continue to do this work, but to help other educators to understand how to add Indigenous ways of knowing and being into the curriculum, so that you'd feel a lot more safe and secure in doing so, because I understand that it can be, quite a arduous and daunting task at first to even look at it. And it's a part of the curriculum now as well. You're expected to put a lot of these things in there, which is wonderful, but there's not a lot of guidance, unfortunately, in how to do that. And there aren't a lot of elders and knowledge keepers around that can, sit around and help all day long. We lost a lot during COVID for one thing, but also just they're busy in their own communities. That's where their first priority is. Not that they don't want to help in the communities, because they certainly will where they're able to. But hopefully I can help a little bit with that and relieving you guys a little bit of some anxiety and yeah, to help you understand how you can do this work being respectful, obviously, and without appropriation, which is important. Before we get going on that, I'm going to show you ARPDC already has a lot of resources that have been created by Alberta educators under contract, or teachers have taken secondment over the years, different things, but there are quite a few resources already for First Nations, Métis, and Inuit that are available. So I always like to point these out because since they're already created for us and they're for the province, it's a great place to look first. Empowering the Spirit is probably a website you guys know pretty well. I always say, like, I'm doing my research, it pops up everywhere. Post-secondary institutions use it. It's used across the country, as a matter of fact, referred to. So it's, that it's got some really good resources when that happens. So this is just the basics of the website itself. I always point people, particularly my favorite spot is the Orange Shirt Day and Beyond. There's some really good stuff on there, the program supports for schools, professional learning for adults, but the teaching tools especially. There's some posters on there for sharing circles and for Orange Shirt Day and a few other things that are ready for each division particularly, that you can go and check out that are really good. So if you haven't checked it out, take a look, because I know people don't always realize there's more stuff on that particular website. On our actual professional development resources site, this is there's a really good search engine on here. I really like this one. And I go to focus, and if I go to focus, you can see, and if I was to scroll down, you'd see even more, but I'm going to go to obviously the First Nations, Métis, Inuit one. And this just propagates all of the resources that are available. And ones I'm sure that you've seen in actual, printout editions, like Education is Our Buffalo is a big one that's usually used to be in print. I don't know if it still is because it's on here, or Weaving Ways, that sort of thing. But there's lots of really great resources on here. You can search by audience, you can search by level, and you can search by type. So yeah, it's got a really good search engine. So I just encourage people, if you're looking for something, start there. There's a lot of really good stuff there for you. I've approached this to give you guys as many resources as possible, because I know when I was asked by especially ECS teachers, or however whichever term you're using now, I worked in a Papa Moderate, I was an education coordinator for that kind of program. So I used to visit different facilities in Calgary and area. So I know that's what they were calling people before, but I don't know if I've got your terms wrong, sorry. But preschool basically, and then kindergarten teachers were asking me when I was doing sessions last year if I could specifically give you guys resources, because that's, an area that is time consuming. And I know you guys, particularly long days, you don't have a lot of time. And then there's that high sickness level, right? When you're working with small kids, I know that I was always sick when I went into the schools, and that was before COVID. So I want to just kind of go through, there's a lot of resources I'm going to show you guys, and then you'll get a copy of like I said, the recording and the Google Slides. So then you should be able to go through these in more detail. But we'll start with books, because I know that's a big part of everything you're doing at this age group. Particularly exposing them to as many, print resources as possible. I want to give you guys some really great places to look. And Strong Nations is an Indigenous run bookstore online, and they have so much stuff on here, right? And I wanted to highlight for preschool and kindergarten particularly, they've broken it down. You can see they've got ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, bedtime stories, board books, Indigenous peoples. They've got everything's broken down. Right, so you've got some really great resources there that you can choose from when you're purchasing some of these books or ordering them for your library at school. But this is just, as you can see, there's 48 pages of books on here. So, and they give some really good descriptions of them, and they also, at the side, like you can see where it shows you if it's Canadian content, Indigenous text, and Indigenous art, which is also good, right? So Indigenous text means generally that they've included the language of the person who's written that particular story. And often a lot of these stories, if you search as well, you can find many of them online on YouTube. Sometimes you can find them being read, because I know a lot of, I remember, I can't remember the name of the platform is, I'm just forgetting, but there's the online book service that you can use that has a lot of great Canadian authors and people like that you can have read to the kids, and put that on the screen, which is really good as well. I still like having the actual book in my hand a lot of the time, but it's not always possible financially and that sort of thing too, right? But yeah, there's lots of books on this one. Show you that one. And then Good Minds is also another really great one. So these are both Canadian. And I love this one too, because it includes its First Nations, Métis, and Inuit books. And down the side, you can see it's already on preschool, because that's what it opens up to. But if you can go by grade levels, you can search by languages. You can search by nations, depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for specific people, right? So they've got a really good search engine on here as well. So that's the preschool one. And like I said, it's my internet that's a bit slow. It's this time of the day, people are coming home. But like they've got the orange shirt, Phyllis's orange shirt on there right then. The Stand Like a Cedar, which I know I've used that book in different things. It's from BC, but there's still lots of things you can learn from it. But when it open with our orange hearts, but lots of really good books in here. But I love the ones that have the 2 languages. Excuse me. I'm learning Cree. My grandpa spoke Cree. Most British like Scottish background, particularly in Métis people spoke Cree, and the French spoke Michif mainly. But so I'm learning that. But as I read some books that are Michif, it's kind of interesting, because I do have basic French from Manitoba as well, and then I'm learning Cree. So I'm hoping that I can pick up Michif quite quickly after I've learned more Cree. It's my goal, anyways. So anyways, this is a PDF that I found online that's really good, and it's just got a bunch of things that have already been evaluated as resources for the different grade levels. So I just thought I'd include this for you guys. They've got, a whole lot of information on here too, right? So they've got the description of the entire book. They've got even the reading levels. They've got the amount of time it takes, just a whole lot of stuff on here. So I just included it because I thought it'd be good for those you're trying to vet them, or if you're looking at ordering them, and perhaps you need to justify some of those reasons as well. You've got a little bit of research that's been done here as well too in this document. There's that. Also videos. So there we go. I did want to show you, I'm going to see if I can pause this for just a second. It's this one little video that I found, and I love it. It's great for adults as well, but it just explains the word Indigenous, because that's a pretty big word, especially for little ones. And so I like to have this one on here. And I'm going to go back because it should be all the way here. Here we go. Before I start. And I think it's just like I said, I love it for adults as well, and you'll see why once you watch it. Just having to explain to little kids how to understand what the difference is between the words. Oh, you should. Oh, Siobhan, you show this one every year. Yeah, yeah, it's a really awesome. I love this one. So it's just really quick. So
Indigenous. What is indigenous?
It means originating or occurring naturally in a particular place.
So indigenous people are
Me. Hi, Sid. Hi, Ruby. Indigenous people are the first people to be living in a place. Indigenous people, like me, have lived here for over 12,000 years, long before it was even called Canada. Around 1.4 million people identify as Indigenous in Canada today.
Hi, Sunny. You're indigenous?
Yep, I'm Algonquin First Nation.
So which word should I use? Indigenous or Algonquin First Nation?
Well, most Indigenous people would rather be called by the title of their nation: Algonquin, Cree, Haida, Mohawk. But if you don't know what nation someone is, it's better to use the word Indigenous.
Is indigenous the same as Aboriginal, Native, and Indian?
Actually, those words aren't used as often anymore, Sid. In some cases, those words can even be hurtful. In Canada, there are 3 different groups of Indigenous peoples: the First Nations, the Métis, and the Inuit. The First Nations is the largest and most varied group, and they are found all over Canada. They include my nation, the Algonquin First Nation, and many others like Cree, Haida, Mohawk, Ojibwe. The Métis are the descendants of First Nations peoples and the European settlers who came to Canada, and they are all across the country. Finally, the Inuit are the Indigenous peoples of the Arctic, and they are also found all across the country. So many amazing groups of people. That's right. And think about this. Each nation has their own culture with their own languages, laws, and spiritual beliefs. The First Nations alone include over 50 different nations with 50 different languages. Wow.
Respect.
And those cultures had and continue to have a huge influence on Canada, giving it words, inventions, concepts, and games that are used by Canadians today, including that canoe and this kayak. The country's name, Canada, comes from the St. Lawrence Iroquois First Nations word, Kanata, meaning village or settlement. Thanks for sharing with us, Sunny. Happy to. And remember, if you know what nation someone is, you can use that to describe them. If not, use the word Indigenous.
Got it.
yeah, it's just a cute little video, and I think I also do a session called, what words can you use now? And it really, it depends on your relationship, obviously. For little kids, I don't think at the age that you're at, it's safer for them to just say Indigenous if they can learn how to say that, because it's a big mouthful especially I can see like a 3-year-old trying to say that. But, they do their best. We all call each other Native. And then those who are First Nations too, I mean, they're referred to specifically under the Indian Act as Indian. So that word is thrown around, but amongst each other, right? It's not a word that people from outside use. Otherwise, it is very rude, right? So it's just safer for kids to know that. I just pulled up a few specific areas that I thought I would show you for videos. I've got a whole bunch here too, but I'm obviously not going to show you the videos themselves, but just point out some of the ones that I found, that unless this one doesn't want to propagate. Yeah, this is okay. So this is a whole list. So this includes that one I just showed you. So the word Indigenous. And then it has a whole list of some really nice like videos of people reading different stories and stuff like that, or different, you'd have to go through obviously and vet them and see what works for you, but there's quite a few on here, obviously what's appropriate too, depending on the age level of the children. And then this one I love, Elder Hazel. She is just the sweetest lady. She's through the University of Regina and the Royal Saskatchewan Museum, and there's a whole lot of videos that she has created through them, and she's just an amazingly gentle storyteller, definitely an elder, like a grandma, and she's just so sweet. But there's lots of stories on here that she tells. There's also, if you go to YouTube and you search her name, you can find the 7 grandfather teaching. She does a video for each one of those as well. And then there's boggle board activities, which there's a teacher package and a student package. So there's the hidden words, and obviously that's for a little bit older kids, but it's kind of neat too. Yeah, so there's those. And then I thought I'd just throw in a whole bunch of different videos for you guys that I found that I thought were super cool for kids that age. And again, like I said, I'm not going to show you all the videos, but this is powwow dance. And this woman has so much energy and she is so happy when she does this that it's just amazingly motivational for kids. Like she's just so cool. And she's teaching them how to do some powwow dancing. And I thought, that's super cute.
Hey kids, I'm gonna show you how to powwow dance.
See, like she just got so much energy. She does this through the whole thing, right? So it's just really cool. Anyway, so she's a powwow dancer and she shows them. There's another one. This is actually called It's My Party. And this is about kids who get like a party given to them. I guess it was a series on CBC and they get to choose what they want to do. And there's a little boy who takes these people to his reserve and they go to a powwow and he teaches them a whole bunch of things about his culture.
Everyone loves a party, and this bash comes with a twist. Two kids who have never met. One is a party host. This is their celebration. The other will get a brand new experience as their guest. Surprises and challenges await them both.
Anyways, yeah, we're gonna show, but that's the premise behind it, right? So one child gets the birthday party, but they get it at this other child's reserve, and it's during a powwow. So it's just really cool. And then this one is a come dance with me, and it's a fancy dance, which is really awesome. And it's super short, but again, it's just a cute little one to just introduce the kids to some First Nations dancing, and give them let them see the beautiful colors of the regalia and learn all about that.
Meet Joshua. Joshua is an Anishinaabe fancy dancer.
Anyways, yeah, so again, like I'm not going to show you all the videos and that sort of thing, but just so you can see that that's there. So I thought this was really cute. And I don't know if you guys haven't, well, I'm going to show you this one first as Canada Crew, but I want to go to Molly Denali. This is another one. It's like CBC has done a lot of really cool programs. So I'm just gonna mute. I've muted the sound on the so but
Hello.
anyways, it's just really cute. I thought it was I had fun watching these. And then you can see down the side they've got other ones about different things, but and they have another one too about a powwow grass dancer, and so they've got a few different ones, and they've got powwow day multicultural down the side if you look so in this search. But this is just a really cute one too for kids. And then Molly of Denali has a whole set of videos. It's I guess it was one of their TV shows on CBC. Of course, my kids are 30 and 32, so I don't watch a lot of preschool stuff anymore, and other than working in the preschool programs. But you'll see later too, down the side it'll propagate all the different shows. And this one I liked because this is talking about Grandpa's drum and then have canoe paddle. So each episode on here has 2 episodes. And I know when I was at some preschools that I would go to visit at lunchtime or snack time, sometimes while the kids were sitting, they would put on a video for the kids to watch. It was educational, and I thought, well, this is a really good one, to have them watch some of this stuff, and you could talk about it with them as well. But if you look down the side, like we've got Party Moose and Molly and Denali, then we have Sunspots, or that's Maggie, but what are we looking at? Oh, here we go. This is one. Very Itchy Day, herring eggs or bus. There's a whole lot of really awesome stories down the side of Molly and Denali. They're really cute. Just a really cute little one. And then this one I thought was really neat too, because it's like today's Inuit Day, and this is about throat singing. Again, my plan is not to show you all the videos, but just to make you aware of them. And again, this is just a really short one too. Cotton Ball is really sweet, and Cotton Ball invites people onto the show. They're really short to learn different things about different people from different areas. And so this is just a really cute one, and she does some throat singing. I thought that was really neat. And then I thought I'd show you guys the Cree Literacy website has a lot of really cool resources too on YouTube. And this is actually one that you can do the alphabet.
Here's how I made myself control my world using Adobe Premiere Pro. First thing I
do
did was film 2
Adobe
plays.
commercial,
One of
but-
myself doing the act.
Sorry, they're really getting sneaky with these ads now, because Zoom will cut out the ads generally, but they've gotten to the point where they can do this.
on this sky.
Okay, yeah, this is the animal song. There's also a Tansei song. There's a few different ones that I've known, but they've got all of these on here, and it's really cute because then you can teach the kids especially if you're in Treaty 6 and 8 territory. You know, I don't have one for the Blackfoot, unfortunately, because not a lot of their stuff is online for songs and that sort of thing, unfortunately. All right, so that's a video access because I know those visuals are always really great for kids, but I thought I'd also show you some lesson plans that you could look at and borrow from some ideas. FNESC, if you haven't looked on their website, is really amazing. Now, this is the one that is their publication that's called In Our Own Words, and that's for the K-3 classroom. And I know preschool, you know, you obviously have to modify some of these things that are the K level. But they do give you a really good background on them, like the FAQs are on here about all the stuff that they've developed. What I really like too, especially because you start looking at, you know, the units they've created. If you see on here, it's got all about me, gifts from the earth, stories of the seasons, our animal neighbors, all those things, right, that are really appropriate for this age group and are part of the curriculum, especially for, you know, K and up. And then I don't know if you guys are using the oh shoot, what was it called? I'm trying to remember the resource that we were using in the preschools that was Flight. I don't know if everybody's using Flight, but I don't know if it actually, surprisingly, with the name didn't take off, but hopefully it did, because it was a really great resource, but it included a lot of those ideas. I'm just going to flip through this kind of stuff and get to the curriculum. So classroom units, and they do give you all that information too as well about the areas that it covers and the areas it looks at. And then each one has an overview, and then the themes addressed, curriculum connections. It's really detailed. And then, you know, just the very detailed lesson plans too. So anyways, I thought I'd point that out for you guys. There's that, so you can take a look at that. The Learning Circle is actually one from Government of Canada. It does have some really good stuff in it. And it is ages 4 to 7, which is nice because it really hits this age group. You can download this in a PDF format so that you can have it on your computer, but it does also occur on this website. As you can see, it covers storytelling, and that's a big part of the curriculum now. The seasons again, sharing, colors, games, and then of course they've still called National Aboriginal Day because this was created before it was changed to National Indigenous Day. Well, that's easy enough for you to bypass, especially with these little ones, because most of them are not reading. You know, but anyways, it just gives you some really nice background information. And there's also some stories on here that are recorded. So that's always nice that they can listen to, and you can download those as MP3s. So you don't have to do them off the website. If it's not working well, you could have it on your computer. But yeah, and it gives you some, you know, ideas for discussing those and that. Anyways, you get the idea. So there's a really good some good resources on there that you could take and modify if you like. And then I also like this one. This is from Saskatchewan, but Saskatchewan has some really great resources in this area about in work of treaties, because this is also something that's part of the curriculum. And, you know, starting at that kindergarten age particularly. But, you know, I think it's very easy. Well, not only that, I mean, especially if you're in the north, you know, Red Deer North, you're looking at the Cree people as well. And a lot of this is from a Cree perspective. And so it is a good resource from that point of view. I think if you're in the south, you can still take it, obviously modify it, where teachers were used to doing that, and really just taking that and adapting it to looking at the Blackfoot people or the Dene people as well that are here. That one. And then Our Spirit Soar, again, this Our Spirit Soar is all from Saskatchewan, but they've got some really amazing things on here for lesson plans. Like they've got a make and take, which I love, right? For the little ones, make and takes are always good. The Circle of Life, the Sacred Number 4, and a lot of paper plate stuff, right? Because we do a lot with paper plates at this age. But looking at, you know, kindergarten, but you can still, even for some of the younger ones, you could do some of this. Same thing. So another paper plate one. I like this, a Circle of Life, right? It's the traditional teachings, again, the Sacred Number 4, but, you know, and then this is, you know, a kindergarten one, but also I think it would work at preschool as well. Just talking about how all things are related, counting out nature objects. That's something little ones like to do too. And again, this is the seasons, right? Again, you can use a paper plate, or it could just be done on a circle. And again, talking about that. So referring to, you the 4 seasons. So again, the sacred number 4, why is it a sacred number? Because so many things occur in the number 4, just naturally. Talking about the circle again, having no beginning, no ending, talking about the seasons, how that fits into it. And again, that ties into nature and animals and all that stuff too. I'm not done, people. I've got so much on here for you. There's lots to go through. Like I said, I made this one heavy resource intensive for you guys. And then this one has a creation story of Turtle Island. And so this is a nice one. So they're using the Sioux creation story. Photo people. Some would turn out with their actual name of the, I guess it was depending on how they stored the file. Another just came out as, yeah. So this is a pre-K, which I wanted to include as much as I could if possible with, the preschoolers as well. So this is, and again, this is one from the United States. They're calling it American Indian traditional land values. Obviously, we can change that ourselves, but it's still a good lesson plan, right? It has through storytelling and other activities, and just understanding how to look at the world in a different way through a different lens, right? And then they're using modeling dough recipe on here, which we use a lot, right, at that age. And the storytelling at circle time, Mother Earth, and creation mural, and nature walk. They've included a lot of things. Obviously, you wouldn't have to do all these things, but you could. And then the Earth on Turtle's Back is an actual book, and that is available online, as I've seen that one too on YouTube. And then another make and take and roaming the land, right? So this is another good one, pre-contact lesson for the kids, and talking about, before treaties and things like that as well. And we think kids that age can't understand it, but they definitely can when you give them this visual and you talk about it, right? Looking at where they live. And of course, this is Saskatchewan, but you can do one for Alberta. I'm gonna get through all of them because I've got a lot more to show you. And this one I really love too. This is Lessons from the Earth. So storytelling, art, and Indigenous knowledge. And it's a teacher resource kit. So this is really cool. So you're going to use the Sacred Fisher story. And then, which really awesome, again, you have all the audio here for the stories. So all these stories are on here. And then you can go through it. They've got all the information on here. So it's a whole teacher package that you can look at. And I found this one I really like. It's interesting because it has talking about careers. And I know we do that with the little ones, right? We talk about what do you want to be when you grow up, and what do people in the neighborhood do? Talking about our firemen, our postmen, our post people, the different things. But they've got some really nice ones about some role models or Indigenous people in the community. And so I just thought this would be a nice one to include if you wanted some visuals of that sort of thing with Indigenous peoples. And talking about role models, some different jobs that Indigenous people do, because often, and particularly, and I mean, probably not as much now, luckily, but I know when I was growing up, Indigenous people, the only impression you got really, other than, that I grew up with Indigenous peoples, is that, in movies and TVs, and the portrayal was not so awesome, right? So the idea that people didn't do exactly the same thing as other non-Indigenous people did, right? So anyways, there's just some ideas, and there's some little games and things like that. There's also, if you're, again, I like this one too, because this would go with that video of the animals as well. So this would give you some of those. You've got Musqua, Magua, Pisimoso, Satim, Maigan, Kayu, Isatim, so you've got all the different animals on here, right? Mushwa, the Wapus, Amisk, Makisis, right? So you can do that. And there's also some language areas, so you can start with Tansei and get the kids to answer. They're different. And this is actually, I think this must be Manitoba, because it's a little bit different than how we answer in Alberta for learning. But anyways, just a nice little resource there. You can take a peek at. Oh, sorry. I thought I clicked on that one. Right. Oh, Indigenous games for children. Yes, I'll include this one for you guys. So this is always important, right? So have some games for the kids. And this is a really awesome, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. because what I really like about it is that it gives you the different areas that people come from on here, but they're almost that you could print them out as either a full sheet or the smaller cards if you wanted to. And it gives you the age group, it gives you all the information of how to play it, how many play it, what resources you need, equipment. It also gives you information on the side that you can teach to the children about, or you can, so you know what it was supposed to develop, which skills, because all games for children, had a particular reason, to teach them agility, to teach them safety, to teach them how to hunt, how to, fish, all these different things, and how to look after themselves, right? So anyways, it gives you some ideas. Like this one in particular, like the bone game is really cool because it tells you, you can use tongue depressors to do this, but you could teach the kids that they actually use bones to do that, and you can paint them, and yeah, just lots of really cool games on here that you can show them. And there are ones, and there's actually some food on here too as well. Lots of stuff that you can include for all different age groups, right? Some of them are a little bit older, but they do have some younger ones in here too. So I did include that, like Animal Muck is for all ages and that sort of thing. So there are a few on there that you could teach the little ones. Also music, I want to include, I was a music teacher. That's how I started off my career. And, music is a huge part of, especially youngins when you're teaching them every day, right? Usually you're doing some kind of music with them. But there's just some different ones. And I know this is all different areas, but there's a section on here for instance, they've got some songs on here that are in English and Cree or French and Cree, depending on where you're at. There's a Ojibwe. There's some Indigenous arts stuff on here. There's teacher's guides for earth sounds. There's a lady that's Cree Dene and is Métis as well that created these. So some really great stuff. And of course, they've got Machif on here as well for counting to 10, depending on where you're living, right? And where your school is located and what your focus is going to be for the kids that you're working with. There's just lots of really cool stuff on here as well for to go along with games and things like that too. So those Indigenous resources there. And then this is, I know it looks like two of the same links, but they do go to a different part, at least they should unless they change something. So this is a document that I have, it's a PDF, just celebrating Canada's Indigenous people through song and dance. And I know that, not everybody's a music teacher, so that's fine. But if you actually wanted to look at this and you're that so inclined, it does give you some information on them songs, and some of them you can find online as well. And so if you're wanting to do things like work with the kids with rattles or hand drums or that sort of thing, and if you had the ability to get somebody to come in with the kids and work on that, that'd be great too. But you don't have to. But it's also nice because they do have some of the words on here. And like I said, and Olivia Tailfeathers is on here, and I love her. She's amazing. You can find a lot. Her stuff is also on Spotify if you're on there. So she's on Spotify too if you want to look up her stuff. But she's got some really nice things for the kids. Yeah. Also, I just want to include as well, because I know it's important to look at for the young ones. It can be hard to find materials in this area, but looking at education for reconciliation and social can't even speak, social justice, sorry, like I wash my mouth and can't do anything with it today. But this one is, again, this is a Saskatchewan one, but it's still First Nations Child and Family Caring Society of Canada. It is a bit older, but still works. It talks about Shannon's dream, Jordan's principle, right? It talks about some of these areas, so you can get some information about Shannon's dream if you wanted to work with that with the kids, and Jordan's principle, because you may have kids in your schools that are using this as well. Their families are accessing it, might know why that it's there and what it's about. And then there's just a whole bunch of different resources there as well for you to look at for your knowledge as well, right? And then I did want to include more details on Shannon's dream for you as preschool and kindergarten teachers, in case, if you don't have this background information and don't know what it was about, right? And talking about that. And unfortunately, she died before she could see this realized, but it's really important that, people are aware of some of the kids that have actually, tried to access services for their own people as well, right? We're advocates. And according to course Jordan's principle, like I said, you probably have children in your programs that are accessing this. But just, again, it gives you some more information about it, because I know there's quite a few people that don't have lots of background information about this too. And it's an important thing. And then this one, so I wanted to include this for you guys too. I'm a witness, the human rights case. Just looking at how did this come about with child welfare and Jordan's principle, right? And looking at the fact that there's discrimination against First Nations children and youth in terms of accessing services and things that they should have. And so that just kind of brings you through the process and what happened in this whole case and how that was decided and how a lot of these services have come about. The students you may be working with. Oh, I did get through everything in time. I do have no time. So if there's anything you want, I can go through anything in a little more detail if you want. I just was trying to make sure I didn't waste too much time on any one particular thing. But if there's one thing in particular, if you want me to go back, I can go through in more detail too. Particularly, I can show you a couple of videos if you want now. There you go. I have enough time to do that. So I'm gonna show you. Actually, I want to do a little bit of this one because I love. If you guys have, if you can post in the chat if anybody's seen Molly of Denali, but I'm obsessed with this right now. There is another one on Netflix too. Spirit Rangers. I didn't put it in here, but Spirit Rangers.
Come back over the start, you know, always wanting to learn more. The best way to always like the sun. This girl will make me outdoors, so that can't you stay?
Okay, so I'm not gonna like obviously show you the whole episode. I just wanted to point it out there. And like I said, there's the one there's a couple questions in the chat, so we're gonna go to chat. I'm just gonna put in the chat as well though. So Spirit Rangers is on Netflix, and this is another really good one for kids. I don't know how many people actually access Netflix in there, but it's a really cute show. If you do have Netflix and you want to use that, that would be a good one too. Okay, so I am going to stop share now, and I'm also going to take it off record if anybody wants to talk. So give me 1 second.